One thing about women, they will sever a relationship quick.
In a heated discussion that has taken the sports world by storm, Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharpe, and Shaquille O'Neal didn't hold back when talking about the recent controversy involving Dijonai Carrington and Caitlin Clark's eye injury.
This. Y'all mad because that corn-fed Iowa girl busting y'all ass. Y'all said she too weak. She can't do this. She lead the WNBA in assists. She cooking. Let her cook. Let her cook.
As tensions flare, opinions are split on whether Carrington's actions were intentional or just part of the game.
But the fact that the relationship was severed because there was a difference in opinion, that's unfortunate.
You know, I have a lot of stuff, so I might mispronounce someone. I'm trying to correct it.
Right.
If somebody tries to correct me and I sever a relationship or I'm no longer on speaking terms, we never had a friendship to begin with.
Right.
Caitlin Clark is a polarizing figure. People gravitate towards her. It's okay. Caitlin Clark's success doesn't diminish what Sheryl Swoopes accomplished.
With emotions running high, these sports icons gave their unfiltered takes on the incident, leaving no room for doubt about where they stand.
Caitlin Clark's arrival doesn't diminish anything that they've done. I don't get this old guard. People wasn't phonetic. It wasn't buzzing. The WNBA, and then people didn't talk about it like they do. Instead of being upset about it, I'm a ride the wave.
Right.
Look, I love Sheryl Swoopes, but I don't think Nancy said anything that's wrong. Sheryl, you just got, you know, your facts are off.
In a moment that has caught the attention of sports fans across the nation, basketball star Caitlin Clark was sidelined after sustaining an eye injury during a heated match.
The rising tide lifts all boats. This woman is box office, plus she can play. And the combination of the two would ultimately give all of those wonderful ladies for the wonderful work that they had done over so many years. It would have been validated, even though it came through the conduit was her. Ultimately, it stood to benefit the collective whole. And rather than some out there accepting and embracing that, they resented it and they tried to use the contributions of others who came before Caitlin Clark to justify their vitriol.
What's sparking even more discussion is the role Dijonai Carrington may have played in the incident, leaving the sports world debating whether it was an unfortunate accident or something more deliberate.
Caitlin Clark scored a career-high 35 points to pass Simone Augustus for the most points scored in a rookie season. Is there any doubt now who's going to be the WNBA Rookie of the Year?
Absolutely. It shouldn't be any doubt. She's put together a beautiful season. The Indiana Fever, based on what they did last year before she got there, based on how they look now since she's gotten there.
They're going to make the playoffs, Ocho, and they didn't do that last year.
Yeah, it ain't rocket science, sis.
With such a controversial moment unfolding, it didn't take long for the big voices in sports media to weigh in. Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharpe, and Shaquille O'Neal, three of the most prominent and outspoken commentators, have voiced their thoughts, and they didn't hold back in their critique of Carrington.
We didn't do a better job of promoting the WNBA because the numbers, the eyeballs, the interest, the sizzle, the headlines were not there. No one cared. The public didn't care. And so now you have somebody, that has the world caring, and you say to her, well, you know what? We want to make purely basketball decisions. It's the right thing to do, and we got to be worried about how other people are going to feel.
In a moment that has taken the sports world by storm, basketball star Caitlin Clark was recently sidelined after sustaining an eye injury during a highly intense game. The incident quickly sparked debate, and all eyes turned to Dijonai Carrington, who was involved in the play that caused the injury.
Go ahead and look. Everywhere you turn, Indiana Fever is breaking records. All Sheryl Swoopes did was validate all the speculation that there's folks hating on Caitlin Clark. That's all she did. Because to know basketball like Sheryl Swoopes does, to be as accomplished as she is, to be the Hall of Famer that she is, all accolades that are well-deserved.
With emotions running high, the sports community was left to question whether the incident was purely accidental or something more deliberate.
If y'all didn't think she heard all the comments about her not deserving, you don't get to the level she got to without using some type of fuel, and it burns long. Kelsey Mitchell, man, that left-handed, ooh, man. Right now, the way Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are playing, I'm gonna get them dibs. But again, congratulations, Asia. Congratulations, Caitlin Clark.
What initially looked like an innocent defensive play quickly became the subject of heated discussions as replays of the incident circulated on social media. As fans and analysts began reviewing the footage, opinions were sharply divided.
There's a lot of women that was on ESPN that had a lot to say earlier about this. They gone quiet now.
You say they quiet?
Y'all quiet now. Now I want somebody to send that to you, because you know who I'm talking about. I ain't gonna call your name, but you know who you are. Y'all had a lot to say early. Y'all had a lot to say early.
Some argued that it was a simple accident that could happen to any player in the heat of the moment, while others believed that Carrington had intentionally acted in a way that put Clark at risk.
And if you think I'm talking to you, I am. Make no mistake about it, I'm talking to you. You know who you are. One of you was a former coach. I get a little bit more specific. Some of you played the game. Now I want y'all to have that same thing when y'all were talking.
Social media erupted with debates, and soon the controversy became impossible to ignore. Naturally, it didn't take long for prominent sports analysts to weigh in, and when Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharpe, and Shaquille O'Neal gave their takes, they made it clear that they weren't going to sugarcoat anything.
But you're still complaining about the max salary being $250,000. You're still complaining about the absence of eyeballs. You're still complaining about the lack of headlines and notoriety and pub and cachet. You're complaining about all of these things. And the one person who has proven they can alleviate that concern, that could ultimately serve to benefit the better whole.
They're doing what he's doing. I can see it, I feel it. He's cooking.
Stephen A. Smith, as always, delivered his opinion with passion and intensity. Known for his direct and sometimes controversial approach, he wasted no time in expressing his belief that Carrington knew exactly what she was doing during the play.
And I'm certainly not attacking Cheryl's super person because I think she's a wonderful person. How do you talk about the Indiana Fever and mention a multitude of players and not one of them is Caitlin Clark, who, by the way, as a rookie is leading the league in assists? How do you do that? I told y'all that. I've argued with the great Andrea Carter, outstanding analyst for ESPN, right here on this podcast. I've argued with Janae Ogumake, who's an outstanding basketball analyst, and Monica McNutt, one of the preeminent voices of the New York Knicks, and what she's doing with her career. They know they got my support, all love. But I'm waiting for you to say I was right. Caitlin Clark can ball. She should have been on Team USA.
For him, Carrington's physical style of play and her history on the court were crucial context in understanding what had transpired. He argued that such incidents don't happen by chance, especially when dealing with a player like Caitlin Clark, who is consistently under pressure from opponents trying to shut her down. Smith's take was clear. Carrington had crossed a line, and there needed to be accountability for what had happened.
Don't get mad now. Ooh, man, Caitlin let that. Man, Ocho, I was watching it. Man, she was coming up the picks, let the threes go.
Yeah.
Enrique come down, let one go.
Yeah.
She said, wow. She said, I'm tired right now. Hey, Kelsey, take that one. Kelsey hit that left hand on her. Wop, wop. Wop, wop. Wop, wop.
While Smith's fiery commentary struck a chord with many, it also drew some criticism for being too harsh. After all, basketball is a fast-paced game, and accidents can and do happen.
The fact of the matter is, the kind of stuff that's happening and has been happening over the last few months is because of Caitlin Clark. I got some of the stats in front of me to validate it. Because you see, I bring receipts. WNBA Draft 2024 drew 2.446 million viewers, making it the most watched draft in WNBA history. Who's the number one overall pick?
In the end, this incident is a reminder of how quickly things can change in sports. One moment, Caitlin Clark was on the verge of another standout performance. The next, she was on the ground, sidelined by an injury that could have long-term consequences. Dijonai Carrington's actions, whether intentional or not, have sparked a conversation that extends far beyond just one game. As the debate continues, one thing is clear: the world of women's basketball is evolving, and with that evolution comes new challenges and questions about how the game should be played. The United States women's basketball team arrived in Paris and dominated its group, setting the stage for an 8th consecutive Olympic gold medal run. However, there's a noticeable absence: Caitlin Clark. This omission has been a point of frustration, both within the team and among fans, who frequently bring it up during games. This has led to internal friction and media outbursts, with many questioning if Caitlin should have been included and if fans are right to demand answers from the head coach. Despite a quick start from Germany, the US team increased their defensive pressure before halftime, winning 87-68 at Stade Pierre-Mauroy in their final group stage game on Sunday. With this victory, the Americans finished Group C with a 3-0 record and a plumb 158-point differential, securing the top spot in the quarterfinals, where they will face Nigeria, the first African team to reach this stage of the Olympic event. Guard Jackie Young, coming off the bench, had her best tournament performance with 19 points, balancing the scoring alongside the formidable front-court duo of Aja Wilson and Brianna Stewart. Wilson scored 14 points, and Stewart added 13 as the two WNBA MVPs dominated inside. Germany's Satu Sabali scored 8 early points, helping her team to a 17-8 lead. But the US responded with an 11-0 run in the second quarter, seizing control as Germany struggled to score for almost 4 minutes. The US team, receiving the most support from the audience in suburban Lille, saw American flags decorating the arena and frequent mentions of Caitlin Clark from the crowd. "We don't want to start games like that," Coach Cheryl Reeve admitted. "It was disappointing, but the second quarter was crucial for us to regain our footing. We aren't the USA dynasty without our depth of talent." Germany's coach Lisa Tomaitis lamented her team's loss of offensive discipline, noting that they succumbed to the Americans' pressure defense, leading to individual play rather than sticking to their game plan. Sabali, a standout forward for the WNBA's Dallas Wings, led Germany with 15 points and 5 rebounds, acknowledging the respect for the US team but emphasizing their determination to play their own game. Even before defeating Germany, the US had secured a spot in the quarterfinals, set to be held Wednesday at Paris's Bercy Arena. Other quarterfinal matchups include Spain versus Belgium, France versus Germany, and Serbia versus Australia. The winners of Spain versus Belgium and France versus Germany will face each other in the semi-finals on Friday, while the Nigeria versus US winner will face the Serbia versus Australia victor. The bracket draw favored the United States, with Spain and France also winning their groups and Belgium posing the toughest test in group play. "We came here to Lille to go to Paris," Wilson explained. "That was the main goal. I'm glad we did it, and we're going to enjoy it, but we're not satisfied." Despite Team USA's success, fans remain unsatisfied without Caitlin Clark on the court. Clark has been a focal point even in her absence, with fans voicing their displeasure since the team's selection announcement in July. During Team USA's last pool stage game against Germany, a young fan in a Clark, Iowa jersey garnered significant social media attention, highlighting the ongoing debate over her omission. The ongoing debate over Clark's exclusion raises questions about the selection process. Renowned commentator Stephen A. Smith called the decision stupid, suggesting Clark would have enhanced the team's performance and popularity. He pointed out Clark's significant impact on the WNBA, where she has been a major draw for the Indiana Fever. Clark's influence in women's basketball has been a hot topic among journalists, athletes, and fans since her rise to prominence with Iowa. During her debut WNBA season, veterans like Sue Bird and Chiney Ogwumike have praised her. Bird, discussing the Rookie of the Year contest, favored Clark, while Ogwumike emphasized Clark's broader impact on the sport. "She is the most impactful player I've seen in a generation," Ogwumike said, noting how Clark's influence extends beyond basketball, boosting viewership and business.
Honestly, that's the main reason I'm not doing it is, to be honest, I'm pretty mentally, physically, emotionally exhausted. Oh gosh, that's tough. No, I mean, basketball's competitive. I get it. Sometimes your emotions get the best of you.
It's uncommon for a rookie to secure a spot on the WNBA All-Star team.
You have another teammate on this WNBA All-Star squad who is also a rookie. It is rare for rookies to make the All-Star team. It is even more rare to have those rookies have the kind of dynamic, right, that you and Angel Reese have, rivalry in the college game and rivalry in the pros. How do you think sort of that rivalry that so many fans have been excited by sort of impacts the kind of play that you can have tomorrow night?
Fans are buzzing as the WNBA All-Stars gear up to take on Team USA.
Yeah, I think people are just excited to watch. I think that's been the biggest thing about it is just the amount of fans that are probably going to tune in to watch this. I think not only from, obviously us two being rookies, being here, being on the same team, but also the dynamic of playing Team USA. That's only comes around every 4 years. It's, the best in the WNBA versus the best in our country and Team USA.
The WNBA All-Star versus Team USA is shaping up to be a fierce competition.
So I think that's going to be super fun. I think it's going to be competitive. You don't always see that in all-star games. I think it's going to, people are going to, try to win. That's what we're here to do is, win and compete. And that's kind of what Cheryl Miller said to us in the huddle is let's win. The winning is fun. Let's get after it. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun for not only us, but everybody else watching too.
Will Caitlin and Angel Reese have a special plan?
Real quick, do you have anything special planned with Angel? Any pick and rolls planned?
I don't think we have anything planned, honestly. We just got plays, the team's going to run, and whatever happens, happens, I guess.
You mentioned that format, which hasn't been done since 2021 because obviously that was the last Olympic year.
Here's what Caitlin Clark thinks about Arike Ogunbowale.
Now, that year, Arike Ogunbowale did not make Team USA, but she went out and balled out. She led the WNBA All-Stars to a win and won MVP as well for All-Star. What are your thoughts on yourself perhaps being motivated by anything different this year?
I'm not motivated by anything, honestly. I'm just going out there to have fun. I'm not here to prove to anybody anything. I think for me, this is my first All-Star game. Just have fun, enjoy the experience.
Sports accomplished its intended purpose.
Finally, sports did what sports was supposed to do. Forget how much you're going to grow. Forget the name. Go with the best basketball players in the world. And I think that's what they did here. Caitlin Clark is going to be a great basketball player. Has Caitlin Clark grew this game? Absolutely. But she's not the 12th best.
Simply being Caitlin Clark doesn't mean she has the authority to adjust the USA roster.
So you're sitting here telling me just because she is Caitlin Clark and she might bring some attention, I'm going to leave a player off that she's not better than. I don't think that's fair, and I don't think that's disrespectful to Caitlin Clark. She's going to be on a bunch of Olympic teams. She is still going to grow this game.
What was the reason Caitlin didn't participate in the three-point contest?
I want to ask you how much you're looking forward to this break, right, coming up, and sort of how much that played into people would love to see you, right, at the skills challenge and three-point challenge, but just how did that play out? And
honestly, that's the main reason I'm not doing it is, to be honest, I'm pretty mentally, physically, emotionally exhausted.
When Caitlin is competing, tasks that seem easy for others can be quite difficult for her.
I've been competing for a year straight, and at times that probably can seem pretty easy to most people. But it's really hard and really taxing, not only on my body, but a lot of mental preparation goes into those type of things. A lot of emotional, tolls can be taken. And obviously I've been very fortunate to have so many great opportunities over the course of the last year, and I know there's going to be so many more great opportunities for me to come. So I'm pretty sure I'll be in a 3-point competition for everybody to watch at some point. Not everybody needs to freak out. So
there's going to be a ton of eyeballs on that game on Saturday night, and this is a question that I'll be asking Caitlin in a few minutes as well. But is there something from her skill set, from her game, that you would want to add to your own?
Obviously her passing is great. She finds her teammates wherever she needs to get them the ball, and obviously her deep threes. She takes the logo threes, so I'm excited just to be able to play off of her and just being able to see what we can both do.
This topic has sparked a lot of divisive opinions.
Now, she has been left off of the Olympic team. 12 players have made it, and she did not. She said there was no disappointment, adding, quote, "I think it's just a little more motivation." There have been a lot of polarizing opinions on this topic. This will be the most debated conversation we will have all day, so buckle up and get ready. Joy, asking you first, was it disrespectful to leave Caitlin Clark off the Olympic roster?
No, I don't think it was disrespectful to leave Caitlin Clark off the Olympic roster. She is not one of the 12 best professional basketball players in the United States of America right now. The goal of the U.S. women's basketball team is to win a gold medal, is to win. That is their goal. That is the goal of the people that put this team together. That is the goal of the team heading to Paris. And that should be their only goal. Ratings is somebody else's problem. And that is not the priority, nor should it be even considered when you're talking about putting together a roster that is going to compete at the highest level at the biggest stage in the world, which is the Olympics. Remember how salty we got when the men weren't winning the gold. That was a problem. We're not getting involved in this. This is the best team in the world. It is a very hard team to make. They take a lot of considerations for who makes this team, not just who the best players are, but how they're going to play together, because they aren't just assembling an all-star group. They're putting together a team of players that have to play together. Caitlin is going to have an incredible career. She will have an opportunity to go to the Olympics. She will have an opportunity to develop as a player. I think she is going to be one of the greatest players that the game has ever seen. I've enjoyed watching her start in the WNBA. But all of those factors, the ratings, the popularity, people paying attention to it, growing the game, that's not the responsibility of the U.S. women's national team. That is not their goal and responsibility. So I don't think it's disrespectful to her. I think it was, I'm sure, greatly debated and evaluated with a lot of care because they knew there was going to be a lot of discussion about this. But when it comes to the actual competition, you cannot simultaneously say that you care as much about ratings as you do about winning unless those things completely align. And in this case, they don't. So you have to prioritize what your goal is, which is winning.
Caitlin is the absolute star of basketball right now. No doubt about it.
So you look at Caitlin, it's like, yo, this is the biggest player we have in basketball ever. We're not saying the best, but the biggest.
Yeah.
So now when people are tuning in to watch these games, it's not just me talking, it's all the numbers. From going from 4,000 people going to 17,000 average, the attendance. Yeah. Talking about the viewerships. They average like 2 million viewers every time they play. So now you take the biggest draw of WNBA basketball players, you take her away to replace her with who? For who? Why? So now people that was watching before, are they going to watch again? People in other countries, they know who she is. Are they going to watch her now? When they go to the games, they want autographs. They want to see the women play. Who are they going to see? That's a serious thing. So now when I look at the commission, I look at the group that put us together, it's like, yo, y'all dropping the ball. This is stupid. Y'all going to lose money. The max you can make in a woman's contract is what, $250 a year? Is that what it is, $250?
I believe on the court, yep.
Come on, man. Listen, if you want to grow the game out and make the game bigger, not just for Caitlin, but for the whole league for years to come, you put this girl on the roster, right? You market it a certain way. You take her to other countries and let them see her, right? And now the money drives up and everybody can make more money. This is dumb for them.
Is even more rare to have you and Caitlin have the kind of dynamic, right, that you are bringing to this game. Have you guys talked at all before this game? Do you have anything special planned? And just how is that dynamic going to play out when y'all are on the same side of the ball at the same time?
Yeah, we haven't had that talk yet. Obviously, everybody can cheer for both of us for one day, so this is going to be cool. So I'm excited. This is going to be first of many. I know we're going to be all-star teams together in the future, Olympic teams together in the future too. So I'm just excited just to be here in this moment and everybody coming and being able to watch. You know, it's going to be a sold-out crowd. So women's sports is going into life.
I've set in for me for quite some time. I want my legacy to be the impact that I can have on young kids.
I think it's, it is what it is. It's whatever they see on the videos, what they're going to call. But I think we could have responded a little better.
The WNBA game is always intense and physical, like a non-stop showdown of strength and strategy.
The WNBA game has always been physical, has always been violent. Everybody is getting fouled hard, not just Caitlin Clark, but everybody is getting fouled.
Caitlin's stepping up big time, poised to lead our squad to new heights.
Hey, Caitlin, we were watching you evolve. We're watching your game evolve a little bit, and we're seeing you become more of a vocal leader to the team.
Clark's aggressive gameplay lead to potential disciplinary action.
The question of whether Caitlin Clark faces suspension due to flagrant fouls looms large in discussions surrounding her performance. As a prominent player in her sport, Clark's aggressive style of play has occasionally led to incidents that raise concerns about potential disciplinary actions.
Caitlin's string of flagrant fouls has stirred up some serious talk about her future on the court.
Her recent accumulation of flagrant fouls has heightened speculation about her future on the court.
It's a foul. We have a technical foul on the play. Minnesota will shoot one shot, and the play will resume from the point of interruption.
You hear the announcement here.
Fans and analysts alike are closely monitoring how league officials will address these infractions, as any suspension could have significant implications for both Clark and her team's upcoming games.
Here's how Caitlin got a technical foul.
Called a transition take foul. They will, and now Clark gets a T in addition. And
yeah, okay. Certainly deserved the technical.
At St. Lawrence.
When Clark got in the face of Seattle Storm guard Victoria Vivians, and the two were hit with double technical fouls, it was Clark's third technical foul in the first 9 games of her WNBA career. WNBA rules stipulate that players get suspended for a game when they receive their 7th technical foul of the season, and an additional game for every other technical after that. They also receive an $800 fine.
Technical foul on the play.
Yeah, it seemed like a really pivotal point in the game in the third quarter with the Dolson challenge. Seemed like you were talking to the refs for a long time. Seemed like you disagreed with it. What were you saying to them?
I mean, I don't know. I guess they saw something differently. Obviously, AB, it's tough when AB's in foul trouble for us. That stinks for her. Just couldn't really get her into a flow and get her on the floor much, just because she played 20 minutes just because of her foul trouble. But I thought when she was in there, she was obviously pretty effective, 3 for 4. But I think they went on a 10-0 run after that call was reversed, and it would have been an and one. So I think that just kind of shows our maturity. We have to find a way to be able to move on from that. Yeah, we didn't get the call, but we need to stop right now, because I think at that point it was a 10 or 12 point game. We weren't out of it by any means, and then we let it balloon to a 20 plus game. So I think it's, it is what it is. It's whatever they see on the videos, what they're going to call. But I think we could have responded a little better. But I think there was a few moments in the game where it was we just couldn't get it to go our way.
The reaction from folks is getting pretty toxic over it.
I think the conversation overall about Caitlin Clark and the reaction that we're seeing from a lot of people has become a bit toxic, because I think this incident is getting mushed in with how people have been playing defense on Caitlin Clark, how physical they've been on Caitlin Clark, some of the comments from some of the greats in the WNBA before Caitlin Clark got in. It's all kind of getting put into this pot of Caitlin Clark hate. And I think it's more nuanced than that. I think there are a lot of things that's happening with Caitlin Clark in the start of her career that are very normal to a lot of sports. You often see players who are in the league or players who have played before or greats have opinions about new rising stars in the league. That is not uncommon. That's not exclusive to women's sports. It's not exclusive to men's basketball. We can pull so many examples of that. You often see rookies get played very tough, get a little message shown to them, especially if they're coming into the league with a lot of hype. That also is not new. I think what is very specifically unique about this situation is we are seeing a transcendent crossover superstar come into the league and have a huge amount of buzz, of polarization, of excitement. It is translating in numbers. It is translating in ticket sales. It is translating in conversation. And overall, I think that's a good thing. I don't think that what Kennedy did is a reflection of how the entirety of the league feels. I don't think it's a reflection of how all female athletes feel. And I don't think it's a reflection of how the media feels.
I mean, there's some hate going on, right? And we all can see it. I think what Joey just talked about is important because not everything is hate, right? I feel like sometimes if somebody does something to a player, right, that's being hated on, you just throw that right in there with it. And that's not the case. They are pushing her a certain way. Like, I don't mind guarding a rookie, you know, from inbound to inbound because she is that good. She deserves that type of attention. But my thing is, like, when you look at this play from Kennedy, though, right, like, there's no basketball part of that. And the game doesn't need that in any sport. If it's basketball, women or men, there's no, you call out her name and then what is that, right? And let me help you people out for a second. Kennedy Carter is her name. I know a lot of you guys don't know who that is. She actually got drafted 4th overall, right? 2020. She's been on 3 teams so far. So a player like that's not known, that's trying to get her name out there, they do stuff like that. In the NBA, they have that. They have Dylan Brooks. They got guys like that. So I understand it. But my problem is when you talk about hate, that's hate. There's no basketball part of that in the game.
You may call it hate. What I will call it is envy. What we are seeing with Caitlin Clark is envy, and let me define it for so many of y'all because they're human. I'm not surprised that we're seeing envy, but envy, a feeling of discontented or resentful longing aroused by someone else's possessions, qualities, or luck. With Caitlin Clark, it's not at all luck. But what we're seeing, and not generalizing, not by every WNBA player, but by some, I believe Kennedy Carter in that specific incident, is envy. Because post-game, when you go to the presser and you don't want to answer questions about Caitlin Clark, why? You answer questions about other individuals, but you don't want to answer questions about Caitlin Clark. I believe what we are seeing is envy.
It's a tough situation in WNBA, where every game's a battle of grit and hustle.
Now, it's a tough situation because the WNBA game has always been physical, has always been violent. Everybody is getting fouled hard, not just Caitlin Clark, but everybody is getting fouled. It's a very, very physical game. So I really don't know what you can do as a commissioner without really changing the game for Caitlin Clark. I don't know what you can do. But with this whole situation and watching what unfolded in this situation with Kennedy, a couple things stood out to me. Number one, I did not like Angel Reese standing up and clapping on the sideline because it kind of lets me know that this is something that has been talked about, that is on our minds. Like, we are going to send this girl a
One thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch.
Caitlin Clark has been a sensation since she joined the Indiana Fever. But while she may be loved by the public, the same cannot be said within the WNBA. Some players have opened up about who Caitlin really is and urged the public not to be fooled by her. Besides people hailing her as a game changer, many believe she is overly sensitive and not yet ready for professional basketball. Some players even think her popularity is overshadowing others who are also contributing to winning games. But what is it about her that has been fooling the public? Is there more to her that the WNBA has discovered? Join us as we look into why the WNBA has opened up about her and asked everyone not to be fooled by her. For 22-year-old Caitlin Clark, who has quickly become a favorite of many viewers, it's clear that hard work got her this far. However, there are dissenting opinions in the WNBA and claims of dislike toward the Indiana Fever rookie. Caitlin Clark was drafted to the Indiana Fever earlier this year, fresh off 2 record-breaking games and wearing a Prada skirt suit. This received many positive comments, with many hailing her as an NCAA superstar and a game-changer for women's professional basketball. But her first month in the WNBA was rocky because the Fever didn't win many games she played with the team. and it seemed like she was going through some growing pains. A debate grew when Basketball Hall of Famer Charles Barkley claimed that other WNBA players were petty about Caitlin Clark's stardom.
Y'all petty, girls. I expect men to be petty because we're the most insecure group in the world.
Oh, you are.
Y'all should be thanking that girl for getting y'all ass private charters, all the money and visibility she bringing to the WNBA. Don't be petty like dudes.
How has Caitlin Clark's WNBA experience been so far? And how did she spark these reactions? The best part is yet to come. Stay tuned. Things looked particularly bleak when she scored a season low of 3 points in a game against the New York Liberty. A flagrant foul from the Chicago Sky's Chennedy Carter recently fueled long simmering rumors that Clark isn't getting a warm welcome from her new colleagues. Some say older WNBA players are jealous of how much credit she's being given for the league's newfound attention. Others think this is typical treatment for a rookie with a big reputation, and Clark has been compared to a number of NBA players, including Michael Jordan and LeBron James, whose hyped-up entries into the league were swiftly checked by their fellow players. The official line from most has been that the WNBA is happy to have Clark on board, and that a rising tide lifts all boats. So, are any of these rumors true? Here's what we know. A handful of WNBA greats seem to have a chilly attitude toward Clark. Even before she went pro, some senior WNBA players, including some no longer in the league, made public comments that were interpreted as antagonistic toward Clark. In early April, after Clark broke 2 NCAA scoring records, New York Liberty power forward Breanna Stewart told a reporter she didn't think the then Iowa star could be considered one of women's college basketball's greats because she hadn't won her team a championship. Around the same time, college basketball legend Lynette Woodard suggested during a coaches' convention that Clark hadn't broken her scoring record because they weren't playing under the same rules. Another former player, Cheryl Swoops, attempted to undercut one of Clark's accomplishments, incorrectly claiming that her scoring record wasn't valid because she had been playing for more than 4 years.
You asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it.
Okay.
So if Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year, then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record.
Phoenix Mercury guard Diana Taurasi made a comment seen as shade when she was asked about the up-and-coming crop of college superstars, which included both Clark and Angel Reese, during an ESPN interview ahead of the 2024 draft. Taurasi said, "Reality is coming," referring to her future colleagues' entry into the big leagues. She pointed out that you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come play with some grown women who have been playing professional basketball for a long time. She mentioned a transition period during which rookies would have to give themselves grace. Later, responding to the controversy her statement stirred up, Taurasi called fans really sensitive. And then there's A'ja Wilson, the Las Vegas Aces star who was accused of being jealous of Clark after tweeting Psalm 37:7, referencing a biblical verse about being patient while others succeed, amid news that Clark was about to sign a record-breaking sneaker deal with Nike. Wilson, who is also signed to Nike and ended up releasing her own sneaker less than a month later, responded to the rumors with another tweet, saying no one is jealous and that the league is hard, so thriving and staying in it consistently is huge. Angel Reese, one of the players, took a subtle shot at Clark in a since-deleted post on social media, while another player, A'ja Wilson, said race was a huge factor in her popularity, implying that everyone likes her because of her race. Wilson added more comments that led people to believe Caitlin is not well liked in the WNBA. She mentioned that you can be top-notch as a black woman, but maybe that's something people don't want to see. According to Wilson, people don't see black athletes as marketable, so even if she worked hard as a black woman, she's constantly overlooked. This reinforces her belief that it's about race, and she said, "It boils her blood just thinking about it." A lot of Clark's on-court success has been hindered by relentless defense against her. Sports commentators say this is typical for a major talent with a lot of attention stepping into the league for the first time.